Geno Auriemma eats his words live on TV during Caitlin Clark's NCAA homecoming.
The delusional fan base that follows her disrespects the LPGA golfers by thinking she can go into this tournament and do anything. There are actually fans that think she can make birdies or even pars.
Caitlin Clark, in front of a packed crowd, put on a performance that left everyone, including Auriemma. From the moment Caitlin Clark stepped onto the court, Iowa fans erupted into a deafening roar, transforming the venue into a wall of sound that never wavered. Signs, chants, and even custom jerseys flooded the stands, showing just how much this homecoming meant to the Hawkeye faithful. It wasn't just the locals, though. This event drew a star-studded crowd. NBA players, WNBA icons, and even celebrities couldn't resist witnessing the magic of Caitlin Clark live. The atmosphere was more than just high energy. It felt like a celebration of her meteoric rise to basketball stardom. And then, in the middle of it all, there was Gino Auriemma, the legendary UConn coach, known for his sharp critiques and unmatched basketball IQ, was asked live on air to share his thoughts on Clark's jaw-dropping performance. His reaction? A rare moment of unfiltered admiration. For someone who had previously questioned Clark's flashy, high-risk style, Gino couldn't help but acknowledge the sheer brilliance she was putting on display. His words? Let's just say they hit different this time. He described her as special and admitted that her ability to dominate the game was unlike anything he'd fully appreciated before. Coming from one of the greatest coaches in basketball history, it was the ultimate nod to Caitlin Clark's generational impact. Caitlin Clark has completely changed the way we view the game. What she's doing out there is something I didn't fully appreciate before. I might have been wrong. She's special. Those were the words of none other than Geno Auriemma, the legendary UConn coach known for his sharp opinions and unrivaled success. For a man who rarely concedes his initial judgments, this was a rare and powerful moment of humility. Live on air, Geno essentially ate his words, publicly acknowledging what so many already knew. Caitlin Clark is a once-in-a-generation talent. It was a moment that symbolized not just respect, but a passing of the torch to a player rewriting the rules of basketball. But this moment wasn't just about proving critics wrong or silencing doubters. It was far more profound. Caitlin Clark's homecoming was a monumental reminder of her seismic impact on the game of basketball. She's not just a scorer who racks up points. She's a dynamic leader, one who commands the floor and inspires everyone around her to raise their game. She's a showstopper, someone who can turn any moment into a highlight reel, capturing the attention of fans and analysts alike. And above all, she's a trailblazer, paving the way for future generations of women's basketball players and changing the way the world views the women's game. Caitlin Clark's return to her college arena wasn't just another game. It was a historic event. The energy in the arena was off the charts. Fans poured in from all corners to witness her play live, and in the process, she helped break attendance records, proving just how magnetic her presence is. This wasn't only about Iowa fans showing up in droves to support their homegrown star. The buzz around Clark has transcended regional loyalty. The game attracted fans from across the country.
You never know how quickly they're going to adapt to the WNBA game coming from college. And I think that Caitlin has done surprisingly well, how quickly she's adapted to this game. There's a lot of doubters out there, as we all know, and she has proved them all wrong.
College basketball enthusiasts, professional players, media outlets, and even celebrities, all flocking to see the phenomenon that Caitlin Clark has become. The stats and the turnout don't lie. Clark's return to action drew a level of attention typically reserved for the biggest events in sports. The arena was packed to capacity, with standing room-only spots as fans scrambled to catch a glimpse of her electrifying play. But it wasn't just about numbers. Every move she made on the court was a reminder of how far women's basketball has come, and how much further it can go with stars like her leading the way. Caitlin Clark's performance on the court transcends the typical definition of athleticism. It embodies a cultural shift that extends far beyond the confines of the game itself. Each breathtaking three-pointer she sinks, every pinpoint assist that highlights her vision of the floor, and every moment of sheer determination she displays speaks to something much deeper, a message that women's sports are no longer playing second fiddle. With every step Caitlin takes, she dismantles outdated stereotypes, proving that women can not only compete at the highest level, but also captivate audiences in ways previously reserved for their male counterparts. Her dazzling style of play, with its blend of fearlessness and finesse, has become a blueprint for how women's basketball is meant to be played. Bold, dynamic, and unapologetically powerful. But it's not just about the highlight reels. Caitlin Clark is shifting the very framework of women's basketball. As she continuously rewrites records and challenges expectations, her influence can be seen in the way the sport is viewed, analyzed, and celebrated. From the press box to the locker room, Caitlin's impact has prompted coaches, analysts, and players alike to reconsider what's possible. The landscape of the sport is evolving, and Clark is at the forefront, pushing boundaries and making it clear that women's basketball is not just evolving, it's exploding into a new era. Her game isn't just about scoring points, it's about making a statement, showing the world that women's basketball is more than capable of commanding attention, respect, and adoration. Her rise is a challenge to the traditional patriarchal notions of what women's sports can achieve. This is no longer a niche. This is no longer an afterthought. Caitlin Clark is leading a movement that is bringing the world's spotlight to women's basketball in a way it's never seen before. The fervor and excitement surrounding her are not just about a single athlete. They represent a seismic shift in how women's sports are perceived and how they are covered. Her influence is felt across the entire ecosystem, from the courts where games are played to the broadcast booths and beyond. Coaches now have to adapt. Analysts are forced to reassess their metrics. And audiences everywhere are waking up to the undeniable reality that women's sports, especially women's basketball, is here to stay. And it's not going anywhere but up. This game, this homecoming, was more than just a win on the scoreboard. It was the epitome of a movement. It was a bold declaration that Caitlin Clark is not just a player in the game, she is the catalyst for a paradigm shift. As she continues to make history, breaking records and setting new standards of excellence, she's leading a generation of young women to believe in the impossible. She's pushing the envelope and demonstrating that the future of women's basketball is no longer just a promising thought, it's a fully realized reality. Caitlin Clark is proving day in and day out that women's basketball is a powerhouse in its own right, and that the vision for the future of women's sports is being rewritten by her every play. It's not every day that a coach like Geno Auriemma, an icon with 11 NCAA championships and a reputation for being one of the most respected minds in basketball, publicly changes his perspective. But Caitlin Clark is no ordinary player. She's a once-in-a-generation talent, rewriting the playbook on what's possible in women's basketball, forcing even the staunchest traditionalists to sit up and take notice. For decades, Auriemma has been synonymous with the old guard of basketball, fundamentals, discipline, and a commitment to excellence that leaves little room for flashy, unorthodox styles. Yet when he saw Caitlin Clark in action, everything shifted. Clark, with her unparalleled shooting range, magnetic presence, and an audacious style of play, has turned the sport on its head. Geno didn't just praise her talent, he acknowledged something even more profound: a revolution in women's basketball. His rare and candid admission, "I might have been wrong," sent shockwaves through the basketball world. What makes Clark so transformative is not just her ability to dominate games, but the way she captures imaginations. Her NCAA homecoming was more than a game. It was a cultural moment. Fans packed arenas to capacity, traveling hours just to witness her brilliance. The atmosphere was electric, with every shot she took and every pass she made feeling like a moment that would be etched into history. And it wasn't just fans in awe. Players, coaches, analysts, and even casual observers felt the gravitational pull of her presence. Caitlin Clark doesn't simply play basketball, she transcends it. Her pull-up threes from the logo, her laser-accurate cross-court passes, and her ability to elevate teammates make her an artist on the hardwood. Every play she makes tells a story. Every game she plays becomes a chapter in a larger narrative, and that narrative is changing how people perceive women's sports. She's proving that women's basketball isn't just entertaining, it's exhilarating, captivating, and capable of standing shoulder to shoulder with any other sport. So, what do you think? Has Caitlin Clark officially silenced her doubters, or is there still more to prove? Let us know in the comments. Smash that like button and subscribe to Hoops Gold for all the latest in basketball drama, highlights, and history in the making. Until next time, keep your eyes on the court, because stars like Caitlin Clark are just getting started.